What up? Wade here. Welcome back to the Wade Alter Show. So today's episode is dedicated to a very important group out there in society, very special group that has a big impact on millions and millions of people. It's impacted you. It's impacted me. It's impacted so many of the people that I've just came across over the last 12, 13 years as a coach. And I really noticed, especially early on as a dating coach, I mean, this group impacted every guy that I talked to, and it had such a huge influence on my own life. And so if you're part of this group, this episode is for you, no other than the haters. Yes, the haters. We all got them. They're all out there. And like I said, going back to as a dating coach, I can't tell you how often like the biggest challenge guys had, or the biggest challenge I had as well starting off, and it kind of throughout at different levels, it comes back in waves, is worrying about what other people think of you. Afraid to go up to that girl and like what the rejection might look like to your friends or strangers or even to her and how you identify with that reaction. And so instead of seeing something that you want and going for it, taking 100% action, you see that beautiful woman, you're like, yes, I want that. I'm going to go for it. Or you think, you know what? I want a better lifestyle. I want a better life than what my parents had or that people around me. Now that I'm comparing, we'll get into this, not comparing yourself to others, but just saying, I deserve more. I believe that I can achieve more. And instead of doing that, you go, well, you know, maybe it just wasn't for me, or maybe, you know, that first little failure, or when all of a sudden the great idea comes up, all of a sudden the next thing that pops in your head is like, but what if it fails? Or what if, you know, I go bankrupt? Or what if she, you know, laughs in my face? Or what if all of a sudden I ask for, you know, more money, like a promotion at work or something like that, and my boss laughs at me? We just think of like the worst case scenarios and just like crank them up and build them up in our heads of just everyone pointing at you and laughing, and we make it larger than life, and we just go, oh no, and like that little fear inside becomes this massive holder and this massive barrier that holds you back from living the life that you want. And so I know it's easy for me to come here on the other end of this microphone, and you're listening on the other end in the headphones and saying, okay, Wade, you're telling me I need to go do the things that I'm afraid to do. You're telling me I need to lean into my edge. I get it. I know that I'm going to regret more. It's happened in my own life where the regrets that I have are the things that I didn't do versus, you know, the things that I did. And even though I failed, but it's still, I'm held back. And it's the haters. I'm afraid of the haters. And so how do we overcome this? They're not going to go away. And if anything, the more success you have, the more haters that are going to come along with it. And so first, let me just give you, I'm just going to list off loads of reframes. I'll give you reframes in a business context. I'll give you reframes in a dating context. I'll do a bunch of self-development. I'm just really going to flow wherever this goes and try to give you as much artillery, ammo as possible to squash the haters, smash them, and even more than that, how to kind of thrive from that place and turn them into your biggest fans. And so let's start off with being a dating coach. Kind of picture this, imagine this. You're in a foreign country, whether it's Tokyo, or let's say, you know, probably more crazy like Rio de Janeiro. You're in Ipanema, like the most posh area of the city. No one speaks any English. And you have 3 clients there. These 3 clients, they're paying $2,000 a piece, and they have a no money back guarantee. 100%, if they're not satisfied at any time, they can get their $2,000 back if you don't give them the satisfaction and the value that they want. And so I'm there, and part of what it is, I do a seminar. I go, okay, here's the best way to create attraction. Here's how to, you know, the mechanics of the direct approach. Go up, have good eye contact, have this good tonality, and that's how you do it. And they go, that's great. Now let's go out and show me. And so, of course, a lot of it was me helping them get great results. But on top of that, one of the great ways to teach is through demonstration. And so again, think of that. You have 3 people staring at you. And they're, you know, they want to see you do well, but they're also like, if you don't do well, I'm going to take $2,000 from you back, and then you're not going to be able to get paid for that weekend. That was my only income. It was a purely commission-based sort of income. So you have that. And then all of a sudden you're going out and you have these mega clubs. I remember this like sertanejo music that was like weird, almost country music with live people on stage. There's like 3,000 people there. Beautiful Brazilian women. And they don't speak a lick of English. And I'm supposed to go up in that situation and not be thinking about, okay, what if this goes bad? Not be thinking about, what if I lose $6,000 here? Not be thinking about, what if she doesn't speak English or anything like that. Instead, you got to come from a frame. You have to come of that frame of reality of saying, this is going to go awesome. I'm the shit. She deserves me. I'm the man. This is going to be great. And so here we go. I guess this leads to the first principle. One big part of blasting through the haters, blasting through worrying about what other people think, is whoever's frame is stronger. And so more often than not, if you're trying to take a risk in some area and you don't, It's because you don't even have a frame of reality that you want. You know, I always joke around, like I had a client at one point, they had just quit their job, were building the business and dealing with so much stress. And a lot of that stress came from the fact I was like, okay, what are you thinking about? Like, what's leading to the stress? What is the trigger? And then what do you say to yourself? He's like, oh my God, all I keep thinking about is what if it all fails? And what I'm going to do if I go bankrupt? And what if this happens? And if everything falls and everything collapses? And I said to him, that doesn't sound like some fun stuff to think about. That's not really like a good place to be. And I would feel like shit too if all I was thinking about was if everything failed and how shitty my life would be. And so instead, you got to interrupt the pattern and focus on what do I want? And so much of it is forcing, like I said, if it's the dating example, is like, I want that to go really well. I'm going to picture the story in my head is of her smiling and going, hey, how's it going? So that's one aspect of it. Knowing what frame of reality you want, visualizing that, and then making it happen. You know, I was just, I got a new bookshelf. It's a beautiful bookshelf. I'm pulling all the books out of the boxes. And all of a sudden I pulled out a great classic that I had forgotten about. And it's the top 10, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. And the power of visualization and just continually visual. It just seems like, I think, you know, we're so analytical these days. We're so disassociated with, like, you know, looking at the smartphone and social media. And it's just like, we think like everything is like, they call it the scientific flatland. Whereas we lose the power of the subconscious just because it's not consciously, we're aware of it and we can't kind of control the mind in a conscious way. The subconscious is just so powerful. And so it's almost like too simplistic or too easy to be like, we have to continually be visualizing success. And what's amazing is the subconscious can't tell the difference between something imagined, like something great happening in your mind, in your mind's eye, and something actually, you know, experienced. And so stack the deck in your favor, assume the best, and get crystal clear on what you want, and then reinforce it again and again and again. Another aspect, we'll just use we'll go dating, business, and back and forth with some of the worrying about the haters. It's just purely desensitization. And so, of course, the more times you do something, the easier it's going to be. And the more you get reference points, that's what leads to building confidence. I think it's important to know that with confidence, people are like, oh, if I had more confidence, then I would do this. Or if I had more confidence, I wouldn't care about the haters because I believe in myself. Confidence is a byproduct of experience. And so you can't wait around for that to happen. The confidence comes when you start getting reference points. And so what you want to do is think about, how could I get more reference points faster? This is why a lot of times in business, they say, okay, fail as fast as possible, fail fast forward. Because what you're doing is you're getting feedback as fast as you can. And that's what's going to lead to you figuring things out. But it's also going to reinforce certain frames of reality. So let me kind of bring this into real life. One of my favorite books is The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. And there's this concept called self-efficacy. And what it comes down to is, how effective do you feel in the world? To where if you make a decision and that decision leads to an action and actually the result that you expect to happen actually happens. And so that's like, you know, waking up and being like, I believe that the sun is going to come out. And then it does. You're going to build confidence and you're going to be like, yes, I feel like I understand the world by the fact that when I believe something to happen, it does. And so if we use the example of like the dating situation, you're like, okay, I believe that when I go up to a girl, I'm the prize here and I deserve, you know, I'm confident that this is going to go well. And the only way that that happens is actually taking action. And the interesting thing is you go, oh, but what if it goes poorly? Like, what if she says, get away from me? The thing is, as long as you don't identify with it, as long as you don't go, oh, what does this mean about me? Actually, no matter what, if it goes good or bad, positive or negative, poorly, unproductively, productively, it's going to lead to you getting better and feeling more effective because you're going to figure out what doesn't work. It's the whole Thomas Edison, you know, you try enough filaments for the light bulb, you're going to figure it out. If you do it enough with some guidance and some strategy, you're only improving by taking action. And so the only way that you can fail is by not taking action. That's why I always say the only way you can fail is living in the gray zone. And so we have the frame of reality that you choose. We have desensitizing to the situation. We have building self-efficacy through going, okay, what do I want? What belief do I want? And how can I reinforce that? Another one that I use all the time, and I kind of figured this out through backwards engineering what I was doing as being successful as a dating coach. And a lot of it was, I called extreme self-love. And really what extreme self-love is taking proactive control of your reference points, the experiences you have, and only filtering them through a lens that leads to building confidence. Okay, so first you got to choose a belief. So let's say the belief is, I'm going to be successful in business, or I'm going to be a successful entrepreneur. Then what you do is you look at any single thing that happens and you view it in a way that only reinforces that. So right now I'm looking at a Kleenex. I'm looking at a box of Kleenex. There's a used Kleenex right there. I'm going, you know what? It's so smart of me to have the Kleenex right on the table, right on the desk. I don't have to go into the other room because of that I probably save 30 seconds or 20 seconds whenever I need to use Kleenex, which isn't all that time. But man, that is so fucking smart. And that's why I'm going to be successful in business. I just made that one literally made me laugh. All right, now let's go a blast in the past, thinking back to me being like, why am I the 10? Why am I the prize when I go up to that beautiful woman? She got into the club. She just snuck to the front of the line. You know, every other guy in here thinks that, probably thinks that they want to get with her. Why should I deserve it? You know why? Because I'm wearing this shirt. And I've worn this shirt for a week. And it's got a stain on it. Look at me. I'm so unapologetic. I don't care. It doesn't even matter. Like my vibe, my energy is going to come through. And because of that, that's why I'm a boss. That's why I'm the shit. That's why I'm the man. And so then I'm using basically the fact that I have a stain on the shirt as a pro, as something that reinforces me to be more confident about the situation, to reinforce that belief versus most people that go, oh my God, there's a stain on my shirt. What if she sees the stain? My life is ruined. I need to go home. I need to switch my shirt. I don't think this is the right shirt to wear. The stain on here, this is not a good thing at all, And so you can see how like in the same way that you're afraid of what are other people going to think, you could use that as go, you know what? I'm going to do this to plant a flag symbolically in the ground. I want to fuck up in front of the haters to show that I don't give a shit, to show that I'm unapologetic. And every day I'm going to do something a little bit more, a little bit crazy to say, you know what? I thought for myself, here's a great example. When all of a sudden one of my mentors was like, you need to make your Facebook public. I'm like, oh, what's the first thing that popped in my mind? I'm like, oh, what about my friends from middle school? What about my friends from high school? Or what if it's weird at like the Christmas party? Let me tell you, I've had friends from middle school reach out to me. Hey, what's up to all you guys? Because I know some of you are listening to this podcast episode right now. Which is sweet. I got more people out of this. So in the end of the day, it ended up only being a benefit. But let me tell you, the reason why I did it more than any other reason was the fact that I had that little bit of fear towards the haters. I'm like, you know what? If I feel that, that's something I need to lean into. The fact that I still have this little dwindle, that flame is still there a little bit of worrying what other people think. I need to extinguish it through leaning into that and saying, instead of running from the haters, I come at them head on. And so we're neglecting the self-development side of things. Let's dive over here too. Let's get into that. I remember I have a story that I told all the time when I was dating coach related to being in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and my beloved Brewers. I'm wearing the hat right now, and they're about to make their way to the World Series. That would be amazing. They haven't gone since the year I was born in 1982. So this is pretty epic for this to happen. And I remember being in like a little bar, like a little Milwaukee bar. And all of a sudden, a couple Brewers roll in. This was like, before they were very good. So I think people were like, okay, oh, some Brewers are here. But, you always have the jersey chasers. And you had like the most hot girls in the place are running over there to try to hang out and take pictures with the Brewers. And from that situation, if I'm supposed to have that mindset of like, I'm the best, I'm the 10 here, I look at these guys over here, the Brewers, I'm thinking, well, they're making more money than I am. They're more jacked and fit than I are. At the time, I wasn't a coach yet. I was still just trying to become one and think about like, man, this would be great if I could be a successful dating coach and do this. And it'd be such an amazing thing. They're already living their life. They're living their passion. They're doing it every day. And so who am I? Like, they're traveling. At the time, I'd never really traveled much, never left Wisconsin much at all at 24 years old. I'm thinking like, how can I go up to this girl and say that, yes, I'm more valuable than this Brewer dude over here. But what I know now, it really came down to, and I kind of did this, tweaked it in my own head in some weird way, is that it's all about what you value. It's what your version of success is. And you might look at them and say, but they are what I want. But the answer is no, that's not actually true. For you, you have your own algorithm, your own little computational value of priorities and where you view family, things like self-help and mental health and meditation. Maybe you meditate more. And if you incorporate that with everything else, and maybe you're doing this, it doesn't mean you need to have the outcomes or the result. But as long as you're living in alignment with your values, as long as you're clear on what those values are, which is even more important. And then from that place, if you're living and growing and moving towards those, you are the perfect 10 because that's a 10 out of 10 on your scale, not someone else's. And so every day, what you want to do is move more and more towards living based on your own standards, your own values, your own priority of values versus someone else's. And thinking like you can have things like, this is another conflict that I always had was like, but I value friendship. And so if I value my friends, if they ask to go out to dinner, but I want to work on business, how do I make that decision? And sometimes I feel like I'm compromising my values by going and having dinner. And so it's like, yes, you can have that value, but at the end of the day, it's the priority of the values that is even more important. Or even think about this one. Let's go even more nuanced with it. What if you value being successful with women and you're like, but how can I go up if I get rejected by that girl? That's just like a straight up failure because I'm not successful. I failed. And so remember that it's not that you're being successful with Sarah, the girl that you just went and talked to. That's not success and failure. What success comes down to is being successful with women in general. And that leads to, even if you get rejected, you're only moving one step closer. You're getting more feedback, more reference points on how to do it better the next time. And so when those doubts creep in, let's say it's a business and you all of a sudden throw $100 at Facebook ads and it didn't work out. As long as you learn from that, as long as you take something away from that, that is not you going, oh, there's another brick in the belief system of me never being successful at business. You're not taking proactive control of the beliefs that you have and what you want to reinforce. If the belief is, I'm going to commit to this, I'm going to be successful no matter what it takes. Then when all of a sudden you have that little failure, you're like, see, I'm going to push through this. And this is proving again, showing to the world, showing to the universe, showing to the haters, showing to my subconscious that I say, fuck what other people think. Fuck those beliefs that don't move me forward. If it doesn't serve you, why would you hold on to that belief? This might be a new concept to you, but you don't need to keep the beliefs that you currently have. I say this to clients all the time. They're like, you know what, for me to really do that, I know it's going to be a lot of hard work. Or I had a client a couple of weeks ago where he was breaking up with his girlfriend. He's like, I know at some point I'm really going to, might not hurt right away. It doesn't feel like it's that bad yet, but I know in a couple of weeks, I'm really going to be like tragically sad because that's just what you have to go through after breakup. And I'm like, or not, or you don't have to feel that way. Like you could have that belief, but if you don't want to, you don't need to. And yeah, that might means there might be certain triggers and responses that we're going to have to talk about. But you don't need, success doesn't need to be a challenge. It doesn't need to be hard. You can change your definition of success. I used to think success to me was overcoming challenges, which is a big challenge. What happened was I had to create challenges to overcome them to be successful. And just by redefining what success meant to me of being success to me now is just achieving goals. And that's so much lighter. And the same thing when it comes to worrying about what other people think of you. If you redefine what success is and you redefine what failure, as I'm using quotations here, if there is no such thing as failure, you can't fail. And then from that place, you don't need to be afraid to take action. I'm not even going to say to fail. I'm not even going to say to take risks. It's just taking action and gaining feedback. And instead of having those haters kind of knock you down the totem pole because they're afraid, they're just stagnating, they're staying where they're at, accepting their life. They've already accepted the stagnation. They've already accepted that the security is more important. And they're afraid to take those risks. And they don't want to see other people doing it because it makes them feel worse about themselves. They're the crabs in the bucket. You're trying to make your way to the top and you're trying to change who you are as a person. They're like, I don't like this. So they're trying to do shit to fuck with you. And instead of going like, oh no, these are things that are holding me back. These are the balls and chains that are just inherent in what I got to do. They're actually just figments of your imagination. And those same people can be the people, the shoulders that you're fucking climbing on to get to the top of the pile, to get out of the bucket and live the life you've always wanted. Boom. I hope you liked today's podcast, going a little bit old school, getting a little bit nostalgic. I've decided I'm going to alternate the solos, a little bit self-help with business. I feel like I've been very business heavy lately. And so I hope you like this as a little breath of fresh air. Also, if you don't know, because I've been talking about business so much, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I have a course called The Baseline to Success, which is the 10 stages of inner game transformation to really go from stuck to unstuck in any area of your life, whether it's in business, whether this is in your dating life. If you're procrastinating, if you're dealing with overwhelm, it's one of the best things out there. It truly is my manifesto for when it comes to inner game transformation. So if you're interested in that, you can head over to the website, go to the /products or 3ibaseline.com. There's a couple different packages available, from a self-study version where you can go through the content with exercises, and I'll be monitoring that. And there's also a couple options where you can have a couple calls with me. And I think, this is really one of the only other places where I make myself available outside of in the Chosen 20 or one of the higher tiered programs, because I feel like lately I've really been pulled in the consulting side of things. I've just had more clients and I'm doing more consulting work. And so if you want to get in and blast through that procrastination, get that motivation, and go through a 10-stage proven process to build that inner game confidence, then yeah, 3i Baseline, great product. Check it out. And as always, enjoy.